ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to episode 50, halfway to 100 for Geeks Who Like Sports. As always, I am Ray Carcillo in beautiful Los Angeles, California, joined by my best friend in the entire world over in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Lee Elias. Lee, how is it going today, brother?
Ray, if I wanted to come to see you right now, I couldn't anyway. So I'm so happy we have Skype and the ability to do this podcast. I'm doing good. It's muggy here today. Been back and forth, but it's spring. That's what it is. It's spring. So some cold days, some hot days. Sometimes I have to put my shorts on. Sometimes I have to put my long pants on. I enjoy this time of year just because the life seems to come back. And I've got a new appreciation for nature. Had a good appreciation for it before, but now that I'm forced to take walks every day, it's nice to be outside. Also becoming a pretty proficient kindergarten teacher. I'm not going to lie to you. Common Core math is new to me, so I'm learning as I go. But I'm figuring it out. I have, as you can tell at home, ripped out all of my hair, all of it, due to the stress. It's gone. And for those of you who have been following the video portion of Geeks Who Like Sports, you'll notice I have new headphones today.
Yes.
I went back. These are Captain America headphones because I love my country, but also because they were around my house. And it's weird to say this, but they're old school because the headphone jack is attached to the headphones, not wireless.
Yeah.
What kind of a world do we live in with unwireless headphones? Well, I'll tell you how. It's the world from 6 years ago throughout history prior. And
Yes.
I would have loved to find some of those old Casio ones with the steel. Really,
yeah.
With your cassette Walkman or whatever. And, but it's funny because back in the 80s and 90s, it was like, these are everything, man, this music. And then these came out, and I'm monologuing, and that's the end of that. So, yeah, thanks, Ray. Good.
Yeah. Awesome. Good to hear, buddy. Good to hear. I still, obviously, I'm using my earbuds. I still mostly have wired headphones. So, but for me, if you're watching the video, you'll notice a new light. You'll see me in a new light net from now on, as I literally, as you can probably, as depending on the angle, you'll actually see the reflection in my glasses. I have a new ring light to better illuminate my more fully light my face. But unfortunately, because of some
drummer in quarantine, just the dun.
Yeah.
Wherever you are, thank you.
Yes, thank you. But unfortunately, I work in a somewhat enclosed space, so I don't have a lot of other places I can put this light. So hopefully the glare in the left lens of my glasses isn't too distracting.
If you're listening to this on the podcast, turn down your volume to avoid the brightness of the light. Yeah. Okay, just so you know. But only when he's talking. When I'm talking, you turn it all the way up.
Yes, there you go. So because it's the 50th episode and because of the
50th episode, by the way. Yeah, that's congratulations, Ray. Hey,
yeah,
I got my tea. You have your cup?
Yes,
a little clinky. Boom.
Congrats to you, buddy. Yes.
2 more and it's a year. Holy hell, that went fast.
Yeah, that's right. It has been a full 2 more episodes because we've done this without fail every week since last April.
Yeah, even through this thing. I wish we could have predicted this. That would have been funny if we go back and listen to the first episode now. Like, hey, what do you guys think we'll be doing in a year? Wow, it's funny. You should ask that. The same thing.
Oh, man. Yeah. Good times.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, yeah, if we could have predicted this, we'd probably be richer than we are. It's the truth. It's just, if anybody could have predicted this, you probably would. Well, you should go play the lottery. You could probably go. Well, actually, that's not fair because there were people who were predicting this, but not everybody listened.
Here's what I'll tell you. Bill Gates predicted this, but here's the funny thing about this, and then we'll get on with the show because you're making me think about this. What's interesting about what's going on? Because like I said, we're not going to talk too much about COVID-19 on the show because we're trying to get away from it. But like there are topics that we have to kind of, part of it, right?
Yes.
This is one of those things of usually when something like this happens, there's a lead up to it. Like, in a world war, there's a lead up to the world war. Like there's, it takes time to grow. Right. Yeah. The thing with this is that like the 1 week into this thing, you would have been saying stuff like, can you believe they shut the sports down? Like it was like a week, when this started, it's like, or today, right? Today's like the 2 week mark pretty much of this whole thing. Right. Yeah. It's like, can you imagine going back in time 3 weeks, not like a year, like 3 weeks ago and telling yourself, hey, the entire sports world is shut down. New York City is shut down. And like, you never would believe it. Oh, and a man with tigers is everything everyone's talking about. Apparently, when you lose sports, things like the Tiger King become popular, which we'll talk about later, right? Yeah. but like, it's amazing, really. If you go back 3 weeks ago, you would never believe that Sports League has stopped, and Geeks Who Like Sports has hit 50 episodes. That's what everyone would be saying. Like, they made it? Yeah, they made it to 50 episodes. Those morons made it to 50 episodes.
Yes.
By the way, thank you all of you who listened.
Yes,
who have been listening. This episode's for you.
Yes,
we quarantine alone, waiting for us to do the show every week. Thank you.
Yeah, we appreciate it. We are recording this on March 29th, by the way. It is Sunday. Once again, this has become our regular thing, is we're starting recording on Sundays. So just so you know, so we were several hours before WrestleMania, so we'll probably save WrestleMania for next week's episode. But that brings us into, one of the things that our group likes to comment on a lot is wrestling. We have a lot of wrestling fans in the group.
We do.
But Lee also opened it up to the group to see what you guys wanted to talk about today. So today's episode is going to be more dedicated to you guys who helped us get to 50 episodes. And we're going to kind of, instead of a question of the week, kind of like a commentary, kind of like a mailbag in a way, where we have a lot of comments from you guys, what you want to hear us talk about. So we're going to kick the show off. Instead of doing something geekdom, something sportsdom, just solely related, which we will get into those topics. We do have a few topics related to those subjects. We're going to start off with some of the things that you guys commented on from Lee's post. The first one is you guys wanted us to know the pluses and negatives of The Mandalorian. Now, the first thing I would say is that we talked a lot about The Mandalorian over the course of its run. Go back.
Like every week, yeah.
Listen to those episodes. But I think the overall plus is it's a story in Star Wars that doesn't center around the Skywalkers. And the narrative is a whole lot better and a lot more interesting with a lot more fun characters because of it. Lee, what are your thoughts?
Search your feelings. You know it to be true. You don't know the power of the dark side. It's all pluses for me. There's only one negative. There's only one negative I have about The Mandalorian, and that it's essentially ruined every other Star Wars thing that they do because it's so damn good. All right. We did talk last week a little bit about that Rosario Dawson's going to be Ahsoka Tano. And I love there was this great picture of Hayden Christensen and her together because they did a movie together. Right. And people have been CGIing it to become Anakin and Ahsoka, which is pretty cool. Seeing her look like Ahsoka. But that's my only negative. Honestly, it's so good that it's really set the bar higher for Star Wars to the point that really the Rise of Skywalker probably didn't have the impact that I wanted it to have. Because of the show, like it's not that I hate that movie or anything like that. I don't have a problem with that movie. It's just it's not to the same bar as The Mandalorian right now. The Mandalorian has completely captured traditional Star Wars, just like The Force Awakens did. I thought The Force Awakens really captured the old feeling of Star Wars.
Right.
Then the other two movies didn't. But yeah. By the way, real quick because I have to now. Star Wars things. I need to tell the people at Star Wars, you're releasing some awesome new Rise of Skywalker information from the novels and stuff. Why didn't you put this stuff in the movies? Right? Are you ready real quick for this thing I read this week? Because this is cool.
Sure.
I wouldn't bring them up if I didn't find they were cool. So in the novelization of Rise of Skywalker, there's a scene where Chewie is captured. Right? Remember? That's in the movie too. Okay?
Yeah.
And there's a scene where Kylo Ren interrogates Chewie.
Mm-hmm.
Which is like, why did you not put this in the movie, right? Just because the thought of that's awesome, right? But check this out. This is what happens in the scene. Kylo is interrogating Chewie, and he tries to go into his mind like he does with what's his name? The guy in the the Han Solo guy from the movie. That's not Han Solo. Anyway, he tries to go into his mind to get like the location of where Rey is and everything like that.
Right.
And what he sees from Uncle Chewie, because this is Uncle Chewie,
right,
is memories of him and a young Han Solo, number one, which is awesome. Yeah. Then it switches to memories of Chewie helping to raise Ben Skywalker. So teaching him how to shoot with the crossbow, teaching him how to do different things. And apparently in the novelization, this triggers the good side or the light side in Kylo Ren a tiny bit. And that gives the first glimmer that he's
coming later on. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I'm like, why was it too dark for you to do this scene? Poe Dameron's the name I couldn't think of, by the way. Sorry.
Right, yeah.
But brilliant. Just a brilliant scene, once again, that did not make the movie for some reason, because they had to rush this thing out. It's pretty obvious at this point. But I thought that was really cool. Dive into Chewie, and Chewie really does care about this family. And that the last thing that it discovered was that Chewie's feelings for Ben were not of anger and revenge, but he wants to save him.
Yeah.
Touching, like unbelievably good writing, like that he even after he kills his own father, that he kills Chewie's best friend, he just wants to save Ben.
He wants
Why
to save
was this
his
not
nephew.
in the movie? Yeah.
Yeah.
Why was this not in the movie?
Yeah, I like you said, I guess it's just too good. I don't know. Like it's a really
Once you take all the
really
good plot points and throw them out the door.
Yeah, I mean, look, Rise of Skywalker you could tell they just wanted to land the franchise and just kind of get it done with. Like the studios themselves felt like, I think I think we're kind of exhausted with the Star Wars Skywalker saga. So that said, another Star Wars news, just very briefly to touch upon it. It was announced this week by Nintendo. Jedi Knight Jedi Academy dropped this week on the Switch, and Star Wars Episode 1 Racer is coming to the Switch later this year. So that is a big deal if you're a Star Wars fan, because that was an amazing racing game that was very underrated.
Way ahead of its time, too, in terms of what that I remember we used to know how good a game would be by how heavy the cartridge was.
Yeah.
That was I think the only cartridge heavier than Star Wars Racer was Zelda. So
I was gonna say, I think Zelda Ocarina of Time, yeah.
But I'm excited to play that with my son because he watched pod racing scene. I showed him the trailer from the original N64 game, and he can't wait to play that now.
Oh, that's gonna be awesome for him to experience that. Yeah, I mean, like that game got a bad rap because it was labeled as Episode 1, and a lot of people just tried to hate on everything Episode 1.
Great game. That's the best part of it.
It was a great game, and the pod racing in Episode 1 was terrific. Yeah, it's just you gotta look for the good and the bad, folks. Yeah. You gotta,
Well, I mean, you're right, Ray. He can't wait to watch me play that. Maybe I'll give him a turn. No, of course he'll play that.
Yeah, no, of course. And that was David who gave us the Mandalorian comment. Thanks,
England,
David.
Dave Brightly from all the way over the UK. Stay safe, sir.
Our good friend Bill. Bill, why is Hollywood trying to force us to love Jared Leto? I don't know, Bill. I don't get it either. He is a good actor. He's a decent musician. It just why?
You're not a 30 Seconds to Mars fan, Bill?
Yeah. Come on. I don't know why they're trying to force him to be a thing, especially giving him a lot of. He doesn't seem right for personally. I don't know. I mean, I think Morbius is going to be good though.
That's why. It's because he's won an Oscar.
Well, and that's the thing that but we like Daniel Day-Lewis, right? Like Daniel Day-Lewis, like he goes away and he only does like one project every 2 or 3 years. Like he's very good. But I am excited to see him in Morbius. I think Morbius has a lot of potential. We've talked again about the Spider-Man film saga and where they might go with that from here. The fact that they are merging the Sony Spider-Man universe with the Marvel Spider-Man universe into one thing now. Very excited about that. And Morbius is a character. If done well, Morbius can be a very tragic character, right? Like he's a guy who he becomes a vampire, but he doesn't want to be a vampire. He finds the hero inside himself when he gets afflicted with this disease, and then it becomes, he takes the blood of bad guys. So he becomes a bit like the Punisher. He's a bit of an anti-hero, and of course that's why he's Marvel Knights.
Yeah, so. Okay. So a few things. One is that Morbius is like an apology film for him for the Joker. Because this is what I'll say. I didn't get his Joker. Nobody really knows his Joker, but he's too good of an actor to have been screwed like that. I don't know what happened there. We'll never find out. This is the thing about Morbius, is that it's one of those characters that could become bigger if done right on film. So the best example of this is actually Iron Man, believe it or not. Like Iron Man was nowhere near as popular as he is before the films.
That's very true.
Nowhere. Okay, I mean, he's a popular character, but not anywhere close.
He was probably a B-list hero in the comics.
Yeah. This will say he's A-list in the comics, B+ to the reader.
Right. Yes.
Fair?
That's a fair statement. Yes.
Right. Like he was never on the same level as Batman and Superman, and he showed up and stuff. But now he's top of the list. He's top 3.
Yeah.
You can make the same argument with Thor, to be fair, and Captain America.
Thor,
yeah.
A lot of the Avengers. I would say Cap was still pretty high up there just because of everything represented, but Thor for sure, because he was so rooted in Norse mythology for a while that people were just kind of like kept him at arm's length.
In fact, when I think about Marvel prior to the MCU, I mean, really Wolverine is up there. Spider-Man is up there.
Yeah,
I mean,
Spider-Man for
that's
sure.
your top two.
Spider-Man until 2007 and One More
Yeah.
Day, which we've gone over how much I hate that storyline.
Episode.
Spider-Man was the
Number one.
A+. He was number one. He was the most comparable to Batman at DC,
Yeah,
right?
and
They
then
were on
Wolverine.
basically evil. And then in Wolverine,
Yeah,
Wolverine
and then
is 2. Yeah.
after that, it kind of spreads out probably to the Avengers a bit. I'm thinking but like
Avengers, other
yeah.
X-Men, it starts to fan out.
To round out the point, Bill, like with Morbius, it's like this is what I'm saying. Like Black Panther was not a big character prior to the film. Now it's massive, and Guardians of the Galaxy were not big characters before the film. So if it's done right, now the only big question mark here is it's not really Marvel doing it technically. It's Sony. So the if done right, this could be another character that really comes out of the blue. Jared Leto is a great actor. And this is like I call it the Ryan Reynolds effect. Ryan Reynolds, I've always loved him, but he was just miscast so many times. You start to wonder like what the hell's going on here. Now I'm not saying Ryan Reynolds is the same actor as Jared Leto. All right, but that's actually more in his favor. Morbius is a great storyline. He deserves to be at the top of the comic list if he wants to be. He might. I wish we could talk to Jared Leto. He might really love comic book movies for all I know. You know what I mean? And this might be something.
Unfortunately, when he's not doing a role, he doesn't do a lot of. He doesn't seem to do as much press, I think, as some of these other guys do.
Oh,
and maybe it's because of the bad experience with DC and stuff. I don't know.
He must get that question every time. I mean, like again, you've been bookended by 2 Jokers that won Academy Awards. That's got to be awkward to talk about in a Hollywood things that don't actually matter sense.
Right. Yes. No, exactly.
Because he does have an Oscar.
No, yeah, exactly. In the sense of ego, right? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And these guys, so, but yeah, I mean, I don't think I don't know. I've heard personally he's not the best guy either. But that's just a lot of hearsay. That's, stuff that I can't vouch for. I never met the guy. And I mean, obviously, a lot of folks in Hollywood get bad raps because of one press person or one junket or whatever. So,
bury me fine. It's a song. That's 30 Seconds to Mars. Sorry, guy can sing too.
Well, yeah. No, I mean, he's a very talented individual. So you mentioned Black Panther, Lee, going from Black Panther now to Tiger King. King. Jeffrey and Caitlin both want us to talk about Tiger King, but I'm going to disappoint both of you. Neither one of us have watched Tiger King, and neither one of us has any interest in watching Tiger King, despite getting bombarded by Netflix commercials and promos all the time. The time.
They're on it. Netflix says, no, they got a hero. Listen, guys, actually, Ray, we're lying to the audience. We have watched Tiger King.
We have?
Yes. We had a show back in the 90s called Jerry Springer that everyone watched. Okay, and you're all literally watching a Jerry Springer episode in documentary format. And think about it. Think about it. It's gay tiger handler accused of murder. And like I haven't watched the show, but like you guys could do this. Like it's the same Jerry Springer bottom line zipper things.
Yeah, that's right.
Gay tiger handler accused of murder. And then the other one is so Travis, my other co-host on my other show, is watching this and trying to get me to watch this, and I have no desire to watch this, right? The other one is apparently there's a woman who is acting like an anti-tiger handler, but she's a tiger handler too, and the rumor is that she killed and fed her husband to the tigers. You know what I'm gonna do, Ray, during my time, and this is totally gonna sound elitist, and I'm not even gonna try and hide it. I'm buying a subscription to Masterclass, and I'm gonna take classes because that's what I want to do with my time. That's what I'm trying to do with my time.
That's really good.
I refuse to let the internet screw me up anymore, Ray. By the way, you should all continue to listen to this show, specifically this show.
Yes. And if Masterclass wants to sponsor us and give us free Masterclasses, we'd be down for that.
Well, Ray, it's funny you should mention that because they haven't. Just for those of you listening out there, this is not a plug. They don't sponsor us. They're actually doing a buy one get one free right now subscription.
Yeah.
So like Ray, you're a friend of mine.
Yeah, I am a friend.
There's a lot of theater people on there. You're an actor.
I know. I saw everybody from Dustin Hoffman to Steve Martin.
Dustin Hoffman's a pretty good actor.
Yeah.
He might have won an Oscar once in a while.
I think he
won Best Supporting Actor for Beat the Fockers, right? No, it was he won Best Actor in Rain Man.
Right.
1985. I can't remember. Anyway, that's
around there.
Yeah, guys. In all seriousness, I'm not trying to sound condescending. If I did, I am totally joking around. But yeah, no, I'm actually trying to really use my time wisely right now because the situation for me is a little different. Now, if I had no kids, this would be totally different. I'm not gonna lie, because I'd have a lot more time. But for me, and everyone is experiencing the quarantine differently. And I respect everyone the way that you're doing. I really mean that. What I'm about to say is not a complaint. This is just my reality right now. But this did not actually give me free time. It's given me less time. So what happens now is my kids home. I legit, and I'm enjoying the time with my children. I don't want people to think I'm bitching. It's a struggle like anything else. But I mean, I have to get up and it's kindergarten for me till 2:00 in the afternoon now. All right, because I just can't let my kids' education go away. So to be fair to the school district, they've done a great job at really helping us kind of find a path here. But it's kids till 2, and then they don't disappear at 2. so I have to take them out for walks and do things, and it's really kids. And as you know, my wife is a doctor, so she's not exactly home, or when she is home, she's not super available, right? For obvious reasons, because she's a hero. All right, so it's like I actually have less time now than I did before. But that's just my reality, right? So what I'm trying to say is, like, when I do have the little bit of time that I have, I don't want to watch Tiger King. Yeah, that's where I was going with that. No, I would much rather watch Super Mario Brothers the film.
Wow, that's what Lee thinks of Tiger King, folks. How about that? Wow,
that's a low blow. No,
that is pretty low. I mean,
Combat the film, the first one, not Annihilation.
The first one was pretty. Yeah, the first one was actually pretty good. You know what? Actually, I've been watching instead of Tiger King, which I highly recommend. And again, we have a lot of wrestling fans in our audience.
Segue, Ray. It's not a Ring of Fire.
Yeah, it's the Dark Side of the Ring.
Dark Side of the Lord of the Rings.
It's not the Lord of the Rings. No, the squared circle. As WWE takes on Ray EW.
Ooh, we got to do that. W Lee versus
Ray EW. The Judas in your mind has appeared. As Chris Jericho cuts promos to drones, I cut promos to my ring light here talking to Lee Elias.
Right. Let me tell you something about me. I can't do this. We have to do that. We'll
have to do a special video. Yeah, we'll have to do it.
W Lee and Ray EW.
Yes.
In some sort of, it can't be a fantasy sports matchup. By the way, for those of you listening who don't know, W.W. Lee is my persona on We Live Hockey Fantasy Sports. He is a 6-time champion. It might be 5-time. I can't remember. But our crowd over there loves it because he's never wrong, even when he loses. I remember one week I came in last place, and I was recording the promo, and this came to me as I was recording it, and I had to do everything not to laugh. But I went, that's right, I am number 1 under all. Under all, overall. It's just like I actually have more respect for wrestlers doing these promos now. I don't know how Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, did those promos, which were unbelievably funny without laughing
every week.
I don't know how he did that.
He was in character, man. He was in character.
He is good.
You and me, we would start off as opposed to each other. And then we'd have to be like the Mega Powers with Macho Man Randy Savage and Hulk Hogan coming together, and then we'd split up again. So.
Yeah, the NW Geeks.
Yes.
New World Geeks kind of works.
Oh, yeah. Oh, Ray EW extends his hand to WWE in a form of friendship.
Oh, man. Macho Man. Ray Carcillo.
Went too soon. Oh man, yeah. So we will have to do that some other time. But yes, Dark Side of the Ring. That's how we got into that. I'm sorry. Dark Side of the Ring is a fantastic docuseries by Vice TV on the first 6 episodes. Now here's the thing, folks. YouTube doesn't want me to tell you this, and Amazon doesn't want me to tell you this. They're like, buy them for $1.99 an episode. No, go to vicetv.com and watch them for free.
And if you
the first 6
now,
episodes. Yeah, like
go to the website.
Yeah, and just watch them for free. Like, especially now, so many. I get my cable through my game systems. They also have internet browsers. I just go full screen with the internet browser on my game system, and it's like I'm watching it on YouTube or something.
Amazing.
The first 6 episodes, the 6 episodes of the first season, I should say, it's the whole first season, and the first 2 episodes now of season 2 are up. And the season 2 started off with a 2-parter about the life and death of Chris Benoit, which, if you grew up in the Attitude Era, you know how integral a figure Chris Benoit was. And I liked that the show did a good job of, in ring, this was an amazing individual. But obviously, outside of the ring, this was a troubled, disturbed man who did an incomprehensible act against his family.
Yep.
And because of that, deserves to kind of be stricken from the wrestling record, at least in the form of the fact of not being honored for his time in the ring. Like, obviously, yes, he recognized as a champion, he was as what he did in the ring, but he'll never be a Hall of Famer. They'll never name something after him. He'll never be lauded the way a lot of these other guys are.
And he should not.
Correct.
It's as good as you as a wrestler. He should not ever have anything named after him.
No, for sure. Exactly. I know there are people who have been pushing for him to be in the Hall of Fame, but what I love is that Jim Ross, of course, legendary Hall of Fame broadcaster, been in wrestling for 40 years, just as a play-by-play man. Now, of course, doing it for AEW, and still the best in the game, not named Ray EW. No, but he is, honestly. Jim Ross is a hero and something I look up to, and I actually got to talk to once when I was at ESPN many years ago.
That's right, I remember that now.
Yeah, he's fantastic, absolutely fantastic. His part, and this is because I don't want to spoil it. Watch this show, but what he had to say as to why Chris Benoit should not be honored hit the nail on the head, and I think that for me really kind of is now my stance on the matter as well, because it really it's the perfect argument as to why he was great and why he should never be honored. And again, I think so. It's a really tremendous episode, but also if you're not as familiar with wrestling, it does an episode from season 1 about the Montreal Screwjob.
Yep.
It does a fantastic episode about women's wrestling, focused mostly around the Fabulous Moolah, but really the rise and fall and rebirth of women's wrestling.
Yeah, we should talk about that in an episode sometime, because it is amazing with what women were representative as in the WWF to what they are today.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost incredible that they were able to transition to the point they are today with really no slack, and like nobody really ribbed them for it. They just did the right thing, and everybody was okay with it, because it was incredibly sexist back in the day.
Yeah.
Now that we look back on it,
Well, and the thing is it wasn't always like that. But that's why
especially in the older days. Yeah, you're right.
And that's why they use Moolah as this starting off point for women's wrestling, because of course Fabulous Moolah held the recognized world women's title for 28 straight years. She was the Bruno Sammartino of, who also held the WWF at the time title for 10 years. You had these amazingly long title reigns way back in the day, because the way work again, the whole history of territories and all this other stuff another time. Like you said, we could do a whole special episode on the history.
Yeah, that might not be
a
bad idea, or to do like a wrestling episode specifically on the history of wrestling.
Yeah, but this in particular, if you want to get into wrestling, or you may not have the knowledge of wrestling like I might have or Lee might have, and you want to learn more, Dark Side of the Ring, fantastic series.
It's the only sport still going. It's the only thing really good still going right now. And then
we said we'll talk about WrestleMania next week, which of course is tonight, when we're after we're recording this. So
great question.
Very very good, very good. So from Tiger King we got into Dark Side of the Ring, and now our friend Christine, I gotta be honest with you. I wasn't expecting you to post on here. I was very happy to see your name pop up. That makes me feel really great. I hope you're doing well. Yes, it's good to hear from her. She wants to know about board games.
It's a great question.
Games in general.
It's the one geek thing we haven't spoken about, and I apologize in advance. We have never talked about board games on here, which is a major part of the geek universe. There is a whole PAX dedicated to it. It's
plugged in Philadelphia every year.
Yes, we should have been at that, but we didn't. It's okay.
There
We'll be there.
were reasons.
No,
There
it's
were
fine.
reasons.
It's not easy for Ray to get over here, to be fair. So her question is, thinking an episode about board games might be appropriate this time, geeks, games, and staying home. I don't know about a whole episode, but we'll definitely do a segment on it. I
Yeah,
can tell you,
for sure.
yeah,
I mean, say everything from look, just some things off the top of my head. Ticket to Ride is a great game. It's about building train systems. Settlers of Catan, of course, is a
huge
classic.
Catan player with my wife. My wife and I both play
Yeah.
Catan. In fact,
Catan
if you haven't played Catan, you need to play Catan.
Yeah, I mean that Settlers of Catan is the game to like be playing right now, for sure. I mean it's like modern Monopoly, right? It could destroy friendships and stuff if you're not careful. Don't take it too seriously.
If Monopoly, Civilization, and Uno combined, it would be Catan, because this is one of those games where you can think you're very close to winning, and in 2 moves you're farther away from everybody. But it's fun. It's fun, and you're unless you have an idiot playing with you, you're really in the game the whole time, which is another fun part of it. You know, Ray, one of the things I want to get into, it's not just board games, but card games, which is something I've been thinking about for a long time. Like my son has a ton of Pokemon cards, but I don't know how to play. I'm thinking about teaching myself and him to like kind of learn how to play some of those card games, because I think Pokemon could probably easily turn into Magic the Gathering at some point.
There's definitely analogous there. Actually, Pokemon the card game is what got me into Magic a little bit.
Yeah.
Back in the day, I would say Pokemon is simpler. Pokemon's a great, I don't want to say gateway drug, but like a gate entry point for card games.
You actually kind of brought up the point,
Yeah.
which is I want to keep my kids off drugs.
Yeah.
So like I was thinking like this might not be a bad thing for him to get into. I could be wrong. Like he's his own person, but I'm just saying like I might, I got the time to do it right now, so I might learn how to play that game and open up a couple decks and
I would love if I could find them. They're somewhere in Jersey, I have to imagine, because they're not here in LA. I need to find my Pokemon
right now. Yeah,
I need to find my Pokemon cards.
Well,
and
listen,
so I can teach you guys, because I will teach you.
Next time you come over, we'll because he's got somebody gave him a gigantic box of these things.
Oh wow.
You know what I mean? Like so like I wouldn't mind I try and like encourage him to get into like things like that. Like so he's getting into gaming obviously because of you. So Ray, for those of you if you've been listening to the whole year, you know this, but Ray bought Logan a Switch on his 4th birthday, and Logan is 6 now. And he loves that thing. In fact, he keeps trying to play Star Wars Jedi Knight right now. Dude, I came down the other day. He's been playing Pokemon, then he was playing Zelda. And I promised him if he's good in school this week, we'll get another Switch game this week. So I don't have a problem with that. Gaming is part of the culture. I'm not going to be one of those parents that fights it, because that would make me a massive hypocrite.
That's what my parents used to do. Do good in school, you get a video game.
Yeah, earn it.
Yep, exactly.
Earn it, right? So
yep.
That's one thing I'm going to see if he wants to get into the card game, or we can at least figure out how to play the card game. But I just want to talk about card games too, because I think it fits into this. It's a huge industry. People don't realize how big it is.
Yeah.
It's something I wish I had done more when I was younger. Obviously, sports this is where Ray and I were both geeks, but like when it came to sports, like I went towards athletics and Ray went more towards geekdom, right, in terms of our professions.
Right.
Which is why the show works so well. I think it would be safe to say, Ray, that I am not envious. Jealous isn't the word. I'm envious of your position in geekdom, and you're envious of my position in sports, and that's we live through each other in this stupid vicarious way, and it's fun because we're super happy for each other.
Yes.
Like Ray gets to do things like, hey, I'm going to see Star Wars at the premiere. I'm like, oh man, I work for the Rangers.
Yeah.
You know,
so it's a little fun one-upsmanship where we exactly we live vicarious. You know, Lee went to the Winter Classic in Colorado, and and I would have loved to have done something like that. But then I go to a lot of conventions and stuff that Lee would love to go to. So
I'll tell you this: the highlight for me was when we got to do PAX West together. Like,
yes.
that was like, I have a picture. I didn't tell you this. I got pictures made. I actually have that picture framed on my wall. As like because for those of you who don't know, so I've been very fortunate in sports, and I've had the opportunity to win with a lot of teams, but I don't keep any trophies that I get. All my trophies are like pictures of, like, I'm looking around my office right now. It's like championship pictures, or me with Travis over here with the Stanley Cup, and then there's us with at the PAX West thing. It's just all moments. You know what I mean? Those are my trophies. So that's cool. But anyway, look, getting back to what Christine said. Yeah, so Catan is definitely my board game of choice. I mean, there's the classics, Monopoly and
Game of Life.
Sword Life. Yeah, I wouldn't want to play the Game of Life right now.
Yeah.
I did see a great. This is not a board game, but we all played Oregon Trail, and I saw a great meme the other day of it's like you have died of COVID-19. You know what I mean? I was like, it's funny. It made me chuckle. Yeah. All right, you gotta have a little fun with the thing.
Yes.
I don't know. You know, we should ask the audience really, like, what board games do you play? I mean, there's a lot of them out there.
Yeah.
I when I was a kid, I made my own board game at one point. I remember doing that. It was like this massive project I did, and there were elves and warriors and mages and stuff like that, and it was like booby traps and stuff. And yeah, I mean, I was creative with that stuff. I mean, I love to do that. But what are your favorite board games? Obviously, comment if you're listening to this. Let us know, or text us, or message us. There's ways to get to us.
Yeah, and a couple other card game recommendations. Things like there's the DC deck building game where all the cards are together, but over the course of turns you draw cards and then you battle with decks with people, which is a great game. And also Marvel Munchkin. Munchkin is good. Munchkin is good, but specifically the Marvel themed Munchkin is really, really good, really well balanced. If you're looking for more self-contained card games where you're not having to constantly buy more packs or expansions or things like that, those are self-contained card games that are very, very well done.
Yeah.
And comic book themed, which makes me appreciate them even more.
I don't mind just on the pack idea. It's like I self-contained is fun. I don't mind buying more packs. I just hate when they expand to the point that I can't keep up. Like, you know, so like for example, like if I'm playing Magic, and actually I actually don't know this, so I might be wrong, but like I don't want to become a new Magic player and then realize like I'm 20 sets behind and like I'm never gonna be able to catch up. Like that's no fun for me. And you know, I don't know if that's true of Pokemon either. To be fair.
I'm really curious to see how my Generation 1 decks.
Yeah.
Right, because you got to remember when I collected Pokemon cards, there was only 150 Pokemon.
That's true.
Now there's almost 900 Pokemon. I wonder how my decks from back in the day, which were, I wouldn't say they weren't championship winning. They won some matches and some competitions. I never won a championship, but I did pretty well.
90s you're talking, by the way?
Yeah, late 90s, yeah.
Okay.
So like I was so I was in my early teens.
Yeah, sure.
But I was competitive. My decks were competitive. I won some matches, I lost some matches. I'd be curious to see how my decks from then, even if with a little tweaking, would do against a deck from now.
Well, and that's the trick for the creators of these games is they have to be comparable, right? And I think the trick is like you don't have each set destroy the set before. It's just comparable sets, like because the whole fun of Pokemon is catching all the Pokemon. So it's again, you might have some that are more powerful, but they should be super rare, or so forth and so on. I do want to mention a game here that is actually not, but should be a card game or at-home board game, which is Gwent from The Witcher. So for those of you who don't know, The Witcher has an in-game game. What's the official term for that? Not in-game game, but there's a game within the game called Gwent. It's a card game, and it's extremely addictive and extremely fun. And it's so good that actually there's an app for just Gwent. That is extremely good, but the problem is they will not make a real Gwent card set because they want people playing the online game. And to be fair, like their attitude is, oh, well, we can just update it with the snap of a finger. And I was like, I get that, but this is something I'd actually like to play. I could have a Gwent board and play it with my friends. I would love that. And I think they do exist, but they're all custom made.
They're limited edition. They did a very limited run of like 500. Like so, very few people have like the physical editions of Gwent. Like,
it's a super fun card game of warfare. You should check that out. Another game, and I'm realizing now I can talk about this. Another game. This is what I get for comes with being married to a Puerto Rican family through my wife. But Dominoes. I never played Dominoes until. I traveled to Puerto Rico the first time, and it's a massive thing in Spanish-speaking cultures, right? Dominoes, and I got to play it a lot, and it's fun.
There's one of my favorite memories.
Oh yeah,
was you and me.
Yeah, I just remembered that too. Yeah,
where
my brother.
I was gonna say Jan's brother and
both of them. We played both of my brothers-in-law. Both of my brothers-in-law, Jan's brothers. Sorry, go ahead, Ray.
I'll never forget this. We were at their house. I think it was in Morristown, I think it was, or
Morristown, New Jersey. Yeah,
and we were just chilling in their living room. It was this table set up, and it was you and me versus her brothers, and we're just drinking iced tea, and we're just chilling out, and we won, and it was such a big thing for us.
Huge. Yeah.
And they were like so mad, which made it even sweeter for us.
Well, it's like their game, right? Like, and so okay, I'm gonna tell people this, but you have to take this with a grain of salt. But like, it's not a race thing at all. But it's just like, they call me gringo because I'm white and stuff like that. Yeah. And it's totally playful.
It's out of love. Yeah.
It's nothing bad. And it's funny because they hate. It's not because of that, but like when we win, it's like it's tough for them. It would be like somebody beating up the USA at baseball or basketball. All right. It's just not expected because we don't play that much, right? Yeah. This is very cultural for them. So we beat them. And I remember there's a picture of you and I with our winning scorecard.
Yes.
All right. Which I believe is probably on our Facebook pages because that was a big deal. Now, here's the other quick story, Ray. I don't know if I've ever told you this, but prior to Janet and I being married, I beat her father at Domino's, which apparently no one does. Like, no one beats him. And I beat him. And I am completely sure that is why I was able to get Janet's hand in marriage.
Yeah.
Because obviously that was her choice, but I'm saying I did the traditional thing and asked her father for her hand. Pretty sure that I won her in a game of dominoes. That sounds really bad. It's really a joke. Okay, but I do remember he was not happy that I beat him, but I was worthy after that of the family. Again, all of this is playful. I have to continue to say that.
Yes,
My
no,
wife
of course.
is her own person. She makes up her own mind. Anybody who's met her knows that. Okay. Yeah. But yeah, that was the prize of Domino's.
Yeah. No, that was a good time. Also, very quickly, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention, of course, video games. A lot of video games are coming out and have come out. Animal Crossing, people are going nuts with over the Switch. Not my jam. I was ripping and tearing all week long. I just beat it on Friday night. Doom Eternal. Yeah, it took about a week. It was. I'm gonna say this. It's a bit repetitive. It was a bit of a slog, and that's kind of why it took me so long. I'd give it an 8 out of 10. It's very well done. Don't get me wrong.
That's a good rating from you. Yeah.
It's not bad. It's just it gets a bit repetitive after a while, and it's a lot to handle. So like I would only do a couple of missions a night because it's almost like sensory overload because it's just so many enemies coming after you and so much blood and gore and so much violence.
That's Doom.
It's just, of course, but it's just like I needed to after a couple hours. Like I gotta play baseball. I need to calm down. Like. So
you played another game to get away from the game?
Yeah, that's pretty much what usually happens. Yeah, like
that's Ray for you, ladies.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. No. So. So that was a really good segment. That was really, we appreciate everybody who commented. And of course, comment as always. Let us know what you want to hear us talk about because we do it for you as much for you guys.
Yeah, we'll keep asking too. We'll keep asking what you want to talk about. I think that's important to do. And like I said, with the sports world the way it is, we need to talk about geekdom as long as we possibly can.
Yeah, no, for sure. We'll talking about sports though. Very briefly, couple of quick sports stories. NFL free agency continued. Yep. Not as big a stuff going on as obviously when it first started. One nice story that came out of it, Derek Watt signed with Pittsburgh. He's a fullback who played at the beginning of his career with the Chargers. So now he gets to play with TJ Watt, his brother.
Yep.
Of course, the Watt brothers, JJ, of course, is in Houston. He's the oldest brother. TJ is a star rising in Pittsburgh on the defensive side. And Derek, who is technically DJ, but he refuses to go as DJ so that you have DJ, TJ, and JJ. So he's like, call me Derek. He's the only one on the offensive side of the ball. He plays fullback, signed with Pittsburgh to play with his brother TJ. So
that's awesome. Yeah. So it's cool to see brothers play together, to be fair.
Yes, it's a nice story. You see that a lot in hockey. The Stahl brothers, especially, usually Jordan Stahl, Mark Stahl, and Eric Stahl is the oldest. He's played with both his brothers, one in Carolina and briefly Eric with the Rangers. He's in Minnesota now.
It's actually he was having a great season. He was people thought he was on his way out, and he really revitalized his career this year, which is interesting.
Yeah, I mean that can happen. Sometimes it's just a change of scenery. But of course, he won a cup with Carolina. Was he on the Carolina Cup winning team, wasn't he?
So yeah, he was not the captain of the team at the time, but he was there when they won. Rod Brind'Amour
Yep.
was captain. Mark was obviously on a Cup Finals team with the Rangers.
And Jordan won with Pittsburgh.
Jordan won with Pittsburgh, yeah. So I think Jordan, I don't know if he's captain. He's got an A in Carolina. So just a family of leaders, for lack of a better word. Mark's getting up there in age. Actually, he might be getting close to...
I was gonna say Mark's probably only got a couple of years left. For a defenseman. Yeah. He's starting to get up there. He's 34, I think.
He's
35.
Beat up, and that guy's taking some pain. So
yeah, that's also starting to show, especially with all the Rangers, all the young Ranger defensemen coming up. Also, very briefly, we're just gonna mention it. James Dolan, the owner of the Knicks and Rangers, has been confirmed to have coronavirus. I know there's been a lot of folks out there who have been kind of like, good, he deserves it. And I understand your frustration and where that comes from, but I still wouldn't wish this upon the worst people. Well, maybe not the worst.
No. There's some people that deserve it.
Yes, but James Dolan being a terrible owner of the Knicks and Rangers, I don't know if that. I get the frustration, but I'm just gonna say, whatever happens, happens.
Yeah, look, you shouldn't wish diseases on anyone, right? Yeah. Like excluding people like Hitler. All right, so
right,
and he's dead. So he's dead. Hitler is dead.
Yeah. So
and
it's
I've killed him many times in games, but we talked about that. Yeah. I mean this because you're listening to this doing one of two things right now. You're listening to this going, yeah, that's it's a good point, or you're like, well, this person should get it. Don't be that guy. Don't be that guy.
There's no need to go there. We just honestly, we just wanted to mention it very briefly.
Be over so we can actually hate on James Dolan for real.
Yes, exactly. So we can hate him again. I do find all the memes with Charles Oakley and Spike Lee celebrating to be hysterical.
Oh yeah. But I'll just say it, Mr. Dolan. I hope you recover quickly.
Yes.
And I hope you don't.
Even though you're a jackass. But anyway.
Horrible owner. Yes.
You are a terrible owner. But
you're the worst owner.
Yes.
Many owners out there. You're the worst by far.
You are the worst. You are the number one loser.
No one is worse than you.
Yes.
You are a fake owner.
Yes. Also, so speaking of losers, GameStop is closing 300 stores nationwide, as they continue to contract and kind of go the way of Blockbuster, where there may be one left in Alaska at some point. But it's again, we've talked about this ad nauseum. We've talked about how everything is going digital now. The physical store is not needed anymore in a lot of senses when it comes to media, at least. And it's no surprise to hear GameStop doing this. Of course, they completely botched this whole coronavirus thing where they said they were going to refuse to close, and of course they had to close, and now they're closing permanently. At least a lot of locations.
They have done this before, closing 300 or 600 stores. I think they did that last year. They're slowly liquidating, and it's pretty obvious. I'm also getting 7 emails from them a day, which is a problem. Yes. I will tell you, those of you listening, this as a business person, if there's a business emailing you multiple times a day, that means that they're struggling. I'm only telling you this not because you should be annoyed at them. Like the GameStop ones kind of annoy me, but if it's a business you support, notice that, because they're asking you to support them right now.
Yes.
Okay, so if it's something that you want to stay alive, continue to invest a little bit, if you can, all right, into what they're doing. That's why they're emailing you so much. But yeah, look, it is Blockbuster is 100% what this is.
Yep.
And to be honest with you, the game consoles will decide when this ends, because they're not going to have places for games. And you said it before, the used game market will go away, or more likely the subscription service will overtake it.
Right.
Used games don't matter anymore.
Game Pass and
yeah.
PS Plus.
So end of an era, to be fair. All right, but it's time. I mean, like industries rise and fall all the time, and this is one of them.
Yep.
Can I make a sports transition?
I was going to say, speaking of rising and falling and potentially bouncing back, movie theaters.
Oh yeah, we didn't talk about that.
We have Lee. You mentioned you wanted to mention a great story that you heard this week, which actually is a great idea to possibly get movie theaters back on their feet once all virus stuff all
as we're
ends.
playing ping pong with the geeks and the sports them today, which is totally fine. That's just
Yeah.
the way the show's going. For those of you listening, so you'll love this. Well, I like this. I like when businesses take an innovative approach to things like this, right? I don't like it when they try and just go status quo. So, movie theaters are in deep stuff, and they know that. All right. So one of the ideas that I believe is happening in other countries that probably will be mimicked here is that major movie motion picture chains are talking about offering free movies when things open up again just to get people back in the theater. So the way this would work is not free new release movies. That's not the impression I got. It's they would bring back older movies, but might be things like they might do the complete 22 movie MCU over a month or two, right? Where there's a free movie every few days, and invite you back in to do the movies. Because when you go in, you're going to buy popcorn, you're going to do other things and support the business, but you get the movie for free. And then from that, you'll probably be incentivized to, if you come to a free movie, you get $5 off your ticket to this next new release. I think it's a really good plan.
Yeah.
I think it's the right plan. I think it's a great way to get people to come back. You know, here's our testament to you. We're going to be showing you stuff for free. All right. And I like the thinking behind it because I love going to the movies. It's not an industry I want to die. And they know they need to do something. I did say, I think on last week or 2 weeks ago that, the patent on movie theaters has been lifted. So companies like Disney, Warner Brothers, they can buy their own theaters now and make their own theaters. And I thought that's where this was going. But I really like it. I think it's a great idea. It's a great way to get people back out into public. The one thing people aren't talking about right now is when the quarantine lifts, it's going to be a little bit of culture shock for people.
Yeah.
And like you have to remember that we're all separating. Well, most of us are separating from each other right now. If you're not, you're an idiot.
Yeah.
But most of us are separating from each other right now. And so like what happens when it's just like, okay, just, you can be together again. It's not going to be as easy as you think.
Yeah.
All right. Like, if you go online right now on YouTube, large groups of people, just watch the videos and watch how much anxiety it gives you, right?
Yeah.
Because it's not, I'm telling you, we're going to take some time to get back. So I like the social encouragement to hey, come on back to the theater. All right. We've disinfected it multiple times.
Yeah.
We're going to be showing movies. I think that'd be great if they put all the Marvel movies back in there, free kids movies. It's a great idea. I hope they move forward with it.
Yeah, no, I do too. I think it's like you said, it's a great idea to kind of give people an incentive to get over that anxiety that they'll probably have about being back together with a lot of people in a relatively small place, right?
Yeah.
In an enclosed setting. So, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with, I think with movie theaters, with sports stadiums. I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens with a lot of these.
Can you imagine the old Yankee Stadium having to go back to that after this? I mean, so for those of you who don't live in the New York area, never been to a Yankees game at the old stadium, the seats were incredibly close together. The bathrooms were troughs.
Yeah.
I mean, it was an old stadium. It was 100 years old. So you can imagine, like they didn't think about 400-pound people when they made that stadium. So, and the new stadium is lovely, by the way. I've been there. I did want to use that to transition because opening day would have been this past week. And I gotta be honest with you, Ray. Typically, opening day, I'm okay with it. It's not a big deal for me because, from my point of view, it interferes with hockey season, right? No disrespect to baseball. It's not where I'm going with this. It's just one of those things. Like opening day is typically right around when the playoffs start for hockey, and to me, it's a distraction from hockey. And I love baseball. I love the Phillies. I do, but until the hockey season ends, that's kind of my focus, right? Because of what I do, and it's my favorite sport. I felt this one a little bit because there is no hockey, and I remember thinking, oh man, I would love to watch some baseball right now, right? Yeah. So it's a little bit somber that it's past. It shows you kind of how serious this has become, and baseball will return, and we should talk about that really quickly. That we're starting to hear now different sports leagues talk about how they might continue their season. MLB is talking about a shortened season, which is inevitable at this point.
And baseball has also talked about, I'm sorry to cut you up.
No, fine.
Cutting, even starting earlier than the summer, but playing in front of empty stadiums.
Yeah. Well, I think you're going to see that a lot. I think we're going to, I don't think society comes back with a snap. Yeah. I think sports will come back, but I don't think there'll be fans to begin with. And even if they allow fans, are fans even going to go? Like that's the other big question no one's talking about.
I might go.
Well, yeah, you would, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how many tickets they're going to sell right away. It will not take long for people to go back. And obviously the health of the nation will decide that. But
Yes.
the NHL is talking super heavily now about playing into the summer, deep into the summer.
Yeah.
And I applaud the NHL for really not just canceling everything right now because they're so close to finishing the current 1920 season
Yeah.
and we've seen a lot of models about how this would work. But they're talking about summer hockey, and the NHL has never shied away from trying new things as long as it doesn't hurt the integrity of the game. I would love it if hockey was being played into September
Yeah.
through the summer months. That would be amazing to me.
Yeah.
Just to finish the season and then, but the thing that I keep hearing is that, and again, I hear this from two different sides, but a lot of people are saying, well, next season cannot be disrupted, right? You can't sacrifice some of next season to finish this season.
Right.
I don't necessarily agree with that because this is unprecedented. I would have no problem if the NHL finished this season and then did a 71 game, 68 game, whatever season next year.
Yeah.
That doesn't bother me. Okay. But I'm saying that as a fan, it's not a business thing. I mean, unprecedented times, right? So even if it was over the course of 2 years, now we might get to a point where they just have to cancel the season. I get that. Okay. If it gets to August and nothing's happening, I get it. All right. You do have to just cancel the season at that point, and hope for next season that there's going to be a next season, right?
Yeah.
But as we stand today, I do like that these pro leagues are being proactive of like, look, we want to finish the season. We have to see this goes. I do expect to see empty stadiums first. I think as soon as they give the okay for larger groups of people to be together, I don't mean 20,000 people. I mean 50, 60 people, and you can effectively have a contest. Then Now the other problem though is some of these players keep getting it, right? There's 4 NHL players that have it, a lot of NBA players.
Another guy in Colorado, a lot of folks in
Right?
We mentioned it. James Dolan got it. We've got several Yankee farm players have it. Yeah, like it's starting to really spread amongst the athletes.
We got to get over the peak of this thing, and like measures will have to be made. But I don't think anybody would have a problem if they played in front of empty stadiums. It's funny, again, we talked about just 3 weeks ago how we never would have believed this. It's amazing to think about just 2 weeks ago, the idea of empty stadiums was like, oh, I can't believe they're going to do that. Now we're welcoming it. I would totally welcome it. Just get playing again.
Yes.
Right? You know what I mean?
Well, it's like wrestling. It's like wrestling. It's like I don't mind watching wrestling. I feel bad for the wrestlers because especially in wrestling more than anything, you feed on the crowd energy. Yeah. But like with wrestling, they're doing it in front of an empty arenas, whether it's the WWE Performance Center or AEW is going to the places that they said they would go to.
Yeah.
But they're not selling tickets. They're just only doing it in front of an empty arena. Like,
here's the thing: baseball has the best chance of coming back, only because so few players have to be close. I mean, it's legit social distancing. Yeah. I mean, so like outside the catcher, the umpire, the batter, and then anyone on base.
Well, and even that, it even actually makes the argument for having a computerized strike zone start this year.
Exactly. They won't do that though, because they don't want to do that. I just can tell you that they won't do that based on their code of conduct, right? But like, because like, what if something goes wrong with it?
No, for sure.
Right?
Still, I would say still have the home plate umpire there, but just have him there for calls at the plate where he's 6 feet off or whatever. And if things malfunction, then he can step in.
Well, and like I said, I think baseball could come back pretty quickly if it wanted to.
Yeah.
And we'll see. We'll see. I'm like the rest of you. I'm really looking forward to sports coming back. The nation needs it. I mean, remember, sports is the thing that was the first domino to fall in this entire situation. If I said this,
that's when it got real for people.
Yeah. If I'm sorry, I can't remember his name, but the basketball player that got it,
Rudy Gobert.
Yes. We should be thanking that man, not ridiculing that man. Him contracting COVID-19 probably saved a lot of lives. More and more I realize that, the more and more I'm thankful that he got it. He has recovered from it, from my knowledge. Yeah. All right. If the NBA did not shut down that night and 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 more days had gone on before they started shutting things down, this might have been out of control. And I think history will look back on that and say that, this person got it and that's what actually caused everything. When they shut the NBA down, that's when this really got real for everyone.
Yep.
Right. So that's my thoughts on that. But anyway, I mean, sorry, I did want to just throw it back to it. I know opening day passed and it's very painful for a lot of people. Yeah. Baseball will return. Everything will return at some point. And, who knows, guys? Maybe the Yankee fans out there, you might go undefeated for 19, 20 games. You know what I mean? You might have a team that just can go undefeated, right? Do you know anything about an undefeated Yankees team in 2021?
Yeah, so I upped my so I upped the difficulty on MLB The Show. So I for those of you who don't know, twitch.tv/RayCarcillo, you can watch it. I'm basically every day I'm playing 1 or 2 games of my
Good
Yankee
games.
franchise.
They're playing good games. I do want to back you up. They are good games. You're playing good baseball. Not boring.
And I upped the difficulty, and I'm still winning. I'm 23-0. Yeah, so I beat the Reds 6-3.
Don't give any details. Nobody wants to know your details. If you want to know the details, go watch Twitch. I'm kidding, Ray. Go ahead. I'm kidding.
No. Actually, it was really good. I mean, well, it was a couple. So we beat the Reds 7-6 in the bottom of the ninth. We were down 6-5, and Gary Sanchez hit a 2-run walk-off home run.
Wow.
And then we beat them 6-3. And then we had it was actually a real nail biter in Detroit. We were down 1-0 almost the whole game. And then Detroit went to the bullpen. This is actually very much like baseball. The Yankees beat up on other teams' bullpens. As soon as they pulled the starter, I scored 5 runs in the 8th, and we won 5-2. So
that's a testament to how good the game is, right? Yeah. Just for those of you listening at home or watching, Ray calls me to tell me, like, this might be the one I lose. This might be the one I lose. I'm down. I'm like, you're not going to lose. You're going to come back like you always do. And he does. I joked with Ray last night on the phone off the program, and I'm going to say it now. That I said, you're not raising the difficulty because you want to be this idiot that has the first undefeated season in MLB history with the Yankees, right? And then he said to me, to his credit, he said, listen, I do want to do that, but that wouldn't be fair for anybody watching my Twitch stream just to be undefeated. So we up the difficulty to what's it called? The top difficulty level?
So it's so we've gone up. So legendary is
legendary.
The top.
So he's on the top. It can go. He can't go any higher than this. And he's still winning. But I'm predicting by next week there'll be a loss. I'm predicting it now.
Yeah, I think we're getting closer. I think the games are getting a little more even now. Yeah.
The digital rankies, the rankies. Rankies.
Actually, a lot of times, whenever I make a digital team, so like there's also Diamond Dynasty, which is a mode where you kind of trade cards, and all the cards you get different players. And I call them the New York Rays.
The New York Rays.
Yeah. So because
the New York Rays.
Yeah. Which also abbreviates. It also works really nicely in hockey because then the New York Rays is still NYR.
Okay. Well, that's yes. Yeah, that's good. I'll give you that. All right. I can do something with PHL for Philadelphia, but I'm not going to. I do want to give a quick shout out to Budweiser, who came out with a really great advertisement yesterday. I don't know if you saw it or not, Ray.
No.
But they kind of jumped on the we're all on the same team kind of attitude right now. If you have not seen this advertising, just go search Budweiser COVID-19 ad or something like that. Really great. Budweiser's known for doing the right ad at the right time.
Yeah.
Throughout, I don't want to go through all the tragic events in history, but they've done multiple ads at really rough times in the country's history, and they really do hit a chord. And this one starts out with an empty baseball field, obviously, and I think it's Yankee Stadium, but it's just empty. It might be Busch Stadium because it's in St. Louis. Now I'm thinking about it.
Right.
But empty baseball stadiums, and it just kind of goes on to explain the situation and how, we're all on this thing together here. It was really uplifting. It wasn't kind of like the Nike ad, which was also good, but check it out. I just want to give a shout out to them. I don't want to ruin it for you. Budweiser, check out their newest ad. They really hit the nail on the head to kind of trigger the chord that we're all on right now. And I appreciate good advertising because everyone hates advertising, right?
Yes.
And as someone who has to advertise his companies from time to time, I understand that. We try and do the best we can, do it the right way. I appreciate Budweiser coming through in the clutch like that because it can't be easy to be them right now. And they've been lost for the last few years, and it's like they've kind of found their classic Budweiser feel again. I don't even drink Budweiser. I'm saying this, right? So,
but we will take them as a sponsorship. I will drink Budweiser if they want to be a sponsor.
You should contact them. Geeks Who Like Sports. Brought to you by
Budweiser.
Yeah, we'll do Cloud. This Bud's for you. We'll do the old ones.
Yes.
Right? Budweiser. See, that's the same. Great mind. If you don't know what that was, I'm not.
Don't worry about it. Yeah, maybe we'll YouTube link it or something.
Yeah. Anyway, So that's it. I'm trying to think of there was some other sports news we want to talk about, right?
Actually, no, we were good with sports. We actually had some more geek stuff.
Oh, right. I like geeks.
Yeah. So I wanted to bring this. We mentioned it. We talked about it a little bit last week. And now that the season finale has aired, there's a lot of really mixed reactions on the internet, and I found that
yes,
hardcore fans of the Next Generation,
me by the way,
loved you and other people as well, loved the ending of Picard. People who were, I guess, I don't want to say a fair weather fan isn't the right casual fan, right? A more casual Star Trek fan weren't as high on the season finale of Picard and Picard in general. So I'm going to give you the floor to talk to your thoughts on the without getting really into too much spoiler territory, because I'm not a big Trekkie, so I'm not going to probably watch Picard, and I guess I'm getting the sense that if you're not a big Trekkie, you probably don't. You shouldn't watch. But you don't have to. Yeah, like
I think that's fair. So here's a great analogy for our listeners and for you. If you watch Next Generation like I did every week, you're in front of your TV. Mm-hmm. I loved Next Generation and Deep Space Nine and Voyager. I'm a classic 90s, 80s Star Trek fan. Love the original series too, but that's its own place, right? If you love Next Generation, Picard is the Mandalorian for Star Trek fans. Okay, in the sense of it accomplishes everything. It has unbelievable throwbacks. It has a very deep story in terms of callbacks to the Next Generation. Mm-hmm. Anyone who thinks Sir Patrick Stewart is not a good actor probably doesn't know what that's ridiculous. He is the gem of this show. Dude has still got it. All right, really good. And the ending, again, no spoilers here. The ending gives Star Trek fans something they needed. Number one, desperately needed. Okay, that's number one. All right, especially for me, it gave me closure on something that I really needed closure on for a long time, and they did it elegantly in a nice way. All right, although emotional, it was good. Two, the ending is synchronous with the original mission of Star Trek, meaning to seek out new life and civilizations, to boldly go where everything Star Trek stood for. The ending completely comes back around and gives you that. And Ray, if you want to know the ending, I'll tell you off the air. Okay. And then it opens it up for continued seasons, which was not a secret. Okay. I really enjoyed it. I really loved it. I looked forward to it every week as much as I look forward to The Mandalorian. Now, with that said, the difference between The Mandalorian and Picard is that you did not have to be that hardcore of a Star Wars fan to enjoy The Mandalorian. You can pick it up and go. And keeping in mind, too, that The Mandalorian's expanded universe really is just the Skywalker saga, if you think about it. And most people have seen that, right? To be fair, most people have seen Star Wars. Even if you hadn't, you can do it. All right, so that's the difference. So if you like Next Generation, you have a Mandalorian-esque level show. If you didn't watch it, it is not going to make it. It's going to seem. I'm trying to put myself in the position of someone who didn't watch Next Generation, and it would probably seem not silly. It's not the word. It's just you're not going to pick up on a lot of stuff. Mm-hmm. And if you're only looking at the surface story, this is a good way to look at it. If you're only looking at the surface story, it's going to be when you bounce off the atmosphere. That's how I feel like it would be for someone who doesn't know deep the characters, because there's so much interweaving of old storylines and new. The other thing too, Ray, is that we got to remember, there are new Star Trek fans that like the J.J. Abrams Star Trek and Star Trek Discovery, which are very different. I mean, those are action films, and I love them. I love them as a Star Trek fan, but they're action films. They're not the traditional Star Trek, 60-minute episode with wall-to-wall carpeting on the Enterprise. Right. So, it's different. So, that's I loved it. I really loved it. I thought the last episode was really good television. And it really just brought back to me the really deep essence of Next Generation. And I appreciated that as a as a Star Trek fan. It really hit a nerve in a good way. And especially in this time period, I'm thankful for that.
Wow, that's great. So there you go. There's these thoughts on Picard. I mean, there's nothing for me to add. I mean, I haven't seen it, but B, I was very thorough. Well done, my friend.
That's what I do. It's just, no, I'm just kidding. I'm with you. Live long and prosper.
Yeah. So
I force me with you. Wait, what?
Yeah,
I can do it both hands, dude. I had to practice this for a long time, but I can do it.
You know what I used to do? I used to go like this to kind of get the muscle memory.
Push them up. Yeah, that's how you do it.
And then you kind of.
This is a good exercise for those. Okay, so if you're not listening, I'm doing the Vulcan Salute.
Yes,
Good
I was gonna,
exercise. Moving back and forth the two fingers. You can tell I've practiced this for most of my life.
yeah.
But there you go. There. Okay.
Yeah, so there you go. Yeah, so that's for those of you watching the video. You got a fun little demonstration. For those of you listening, you were bored. You were bored for the last 15 seconds.
I'm still doing it. Okay.
Yeah. So
it's continuing mission.
yes.
Engage.
The last story of the day. We'll briefly touch upon this. One of the big things that IDW loves to do is to basically put the Transformers against everything and everything. The Transformers have gone against G.I. Joe. They've teamed up. They've gone against Marvel. They've gone against
Mark Wahlberg.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. They've done everything. And now Transformers. It's robots versus robots and Transformers versus Terminator.
Beast Wars. Oh no, it's not Beast Wars. Okay.
Yeah. I heard this was kind of just like it's big robots versus little robots. I really can't. I don't care. Like, I'm sorry.
Well, let's geek this down like you and I do, right?
Yeah.
So Cybertron and the Autobots and Decepticons are obviously going to have to do something with Cyberdyne systems and Skynet, if that's the storyline they're going with.
That, or maybe the Autobots and the Decepticons come to Earth at a later date, like post Skynet taking over.
Maybe Skynet destroys the Earth and goes to Cybertron. If it's
somehow the virus gets uploaded via satellite and it bounces to Cybertron.
What's the conflict though? That's what I'm trying to figure out, because are humans involved in this? Are the Autobots trying to save the humans? Are the Decepticons teaming up with Skynet? Can they get into? I mean, I'm guessing Skynet's going to be able to get into some of the Transformers.
Right. Right, and try and convert them somehow.
I mean, and here's the thing: if the Terminator's involved, Predator is never far away.
Yeah. I mean, and then you open the door to aliens.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like.
Yeah. Not gonna lie to you, the best crossover, if we had to, there's still 2 episodes left before we hit a year, but I'm gonna tell you right now, Batman and Ninja Turtles is the best crossover from the last year. If you haven't seen it.
Yeah, that was very good.
You can go back like 20 episodes where we talked about that, but Batman, in fact, Ray, we have not discussed this, but probably should in 2 episodes do like a top 10 list of things for our first year on the air.
Yeah, we could do that. Top 10 things in general, of the top 10 things of the past year in sports and geekdom.
Yeah, that's good. I don't know anyone else making that list. Do you know anyone else making that list?
I don't know anybody making that list.
I know who's making that list. The geeks who like geeks who liked sports.
Yes, yeah, I know.
And the geeks who like sports.
Yes.
Who are on sabbatical and in quarantine until sports come back. Until then, we were geeks who liked sports. Yeah, so it's going to be a comic book, correct?
Yeah, it's a comic book IDW. At least that's what I've heard. So
no fear of having to watch this on television.
Yeah. So I mean, and the beautiful thing is that not beautiful. It's actually sad. With comic book stores also suffering the fate of GameStop. You might not be able to get unless you get it digitally. You might not even be able to get the comic.
Yeah, there's a lot of talk now about how they're going to get comics to people. I'm kind of monitoring that. I don't know if you are, but we'll see what happens with comics, because no one's been able to go to the comic book store for 3 weeks now. So they have to get those comics out somehow. There's this thing called mail. I think people forgot about, but like if I was a comic book store right now, I'd be mailing all my comics out.
And also the big companies, you've seen a lot of delays, a lot of books, of books put in limbo because of this. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens to the comic book industry.
So before Ray closes this out, because we have no more topics left, right?
Yeah, we're done. We're good.
Okay. All right. Just some things to look forward to next week. By this time next week, I will have seen Sonic the Hedgehog. Finally.
Hey! There you go. Yeah, because Tuesday, it comes out Tuesday digitally.
I made the mistake of buying Doolittle. Not good. Not a good movie.
I heard it was horrible. It's a shame. Poor
Robert Downey Jr. is good in it. I'll give you that. But it's the same thing. It's like you've got a good character surrounded by crap.
Yeah.
All right. So not great. What else is happening? So I will have seen Sonic the Hedgehog. All right. Also, by the end of next week, WrestleMania will have passed, so we'll have to be able to talk about that. I also want to give a quick shout out to Dwayne Johnson, who is doing daily Q&A videos right now for 20 minutes at a time, if not longer. The Rock, and they are phenomenal. If you're not following The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, it's so weird to have to say Dwayne Johnson, on Facebook or Instagram, he really will inspire you right now. If you're in a place right now where you need a little bit of motivation or inspiration, go follow him. He's a good guy. And I just want to make that my final note here today before Ray closes it out. I know everyone's on an emotional roller coaster right now. I have good days and bad days in terms of my mentality. And we're all in different situations with this thing, but find those things that kind of bring you hope and just don't sit still. Like I said, I love doing the show with Ray. He's my best friend. You guys know that. We appreciate you guys listening. Some of you have reached out to me to say that you look forward to the show now every week because it's something new. But I wanted to say that, like, we're all going through it, including myself. Keep yourself moving. Keep yourself going. Yeah. Reach out to someone if you need help. Reach out to someone if you just need to talk. Okay? We all got to be there for each other. And again, I get it. I want you to know that I get it. That like, this is not easy for any of us. Nope. And we're going to get through this together. All right? But like I said, you get that boost. Find that boost. Go out for a walk. Whatever you need to do. Reconnect with nature. Whatever that psychobabble crap that you always hear. Do it. It works. It helps. Okay? Yeah. And if it's raining, get an umbrella. You can still go outside. Okay? Yeah. And DoorDash to your heart is content.
No, it's true. Yeah, it's true. Like Lee said, it's good to get into a rhythm. Honestly, my walks help me a lot. Lee even tells me sometimes when I get into a bad place, he's like, go for a walk. And it's like, and he knows. That's how much we know each other. He's like, Greg, you need to go for your walk. And I'm like, okay, yeah. And I come back and I'm like,
I think I said, I don't want to talk to you right now. It's like,
no, because it's true. It's very easy to go into it's easy to get into a rut. But I think going for walks, that's why I've started streaming. Lee knows this. I've been the most resistant person in the world to streaming me playing video games because for me, games is such a personal escape, right? That I don't want to. I didn't want to share that. Not to share that, but it's also splitting my attention. I get very focused sometimes on games. My one friend popped in. He's like, "You didn't even pay attention to the chat." He's like, "Because I get so into the game, and that's what I do. I get it, and it helps me relax because it turns everything else off around me. But it's helped. The stream has helped me keep a positive attitude. And like Lee said, even when it's raining, I literally paced a mile in my apartment the other day just to move, and it helps. Moving around helps. It's very easy to want to just sit down and turn the TV and watch the Tiger King for God knows what reason. But are you talking
about the government or the actual Tiger King right now? They could go anyway. Go ahead.
A little from column A, a little from column B. Take it how you will. But it's getting up, moving around. It's something I know it's hard to do. It's not easy. And again, like I live in a 1-bedroom apartment. I'm literally walking 15 feet back and forth, just pacing. But it's good to get around moving. If
you're listening to this show, again, we appreciate you. After the show's over, get up and go walk around. All right, like that's maybe this is your call. And the last thing I want to say, and Ray and I haven't talked about this, but I'm sure that it'll be both of us. As two people that have a broadcast journalism background, okay, please make sure you do not watch the news all the time, however you're consuming it, all right? Because you will go down a rabbit hole and you will drown in it, okay? Yeah, I'm not saying don't watch the news.
Yeah, some news is good.
Yeah, okay, right, I'm not saying don't pay attention to the news. I think we should all be paying attention to news right now. I think it's very important. Mm-hmm. Be careful how much you're scrolling on a news feed. Be careful how much network news you're watching. It is not good for you. Ray and I have a very inside attitude towards this. We have lived it. We have done it. I'm telling you that too much of that stuff will make you go insane. So if you're one of those people that are watching 12 hours of the news a day or you have it on in the background, I'm as your friend suggesting respectfully, turn it off. Put something else on. Put on some music or something like that. Okay, it's not good.
Or go for a walk. Yeah.
Or go for a walk, as Ray was saying. Ray, I'm gonna stop talking now because the episode will be 4 hours if I keep going.
Yeah, no, we're in a good place. We really appreciate everybody who listened, everybody who's been with us on this journey. 50 episodes. It's not anything to scoff at. We've been doing this consistently. We appreciate everybody who has been listening the entire time or has come on or he's even come on midway through and has gone back. We appreciate everybody who's joined us in this journey. As always, share the love if you can. Spread the word. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Let people know that what we're doing. We appreciate you who constantly share and who are constantly telling us to keep going. It means a lot. Of course, we've got the Facebook group, we've got the Instagram, we've got the Twitter. We've started tweeting a bit more lately, which has been good. Including one that, of course, bashed Rob Manfred the other day because he's a terrible commissioner of baseball.
Just gonna throw that in there, a little dagger.
He's really awful. Houston Cheaters. But anyway, so we appreciate everybody. Email us at geekswholikesports@gmail.com. The website is geekswholikesports.com. You can listen to us where, as you know, if you've gotten this far, wherever podcasts are heard. But again, spread the word. We really do appreciate everybody who does listen. But let's share the love, and we thank you guys for helping us get to 50 episodes. So for Lee, I'm Ray, and until next week, we will be here, episode 51. This has been episode 50 of Geeks Who Like Sports. Good night, everybody.